Hello, beautiful human. Two friends going to be in the studio any second. But first, I want to talk to you about sleep. Everything in our life is connected to quality, good sleep. That's right, Dan.
That's right.
So do more with your mattress. That's what the Vibrasonic by Beyond Sleep allows you to do. This mattress is amazing. Not only is it memory foam, so like when you get hot, it gets cold. Plus, it comes with an adjustable base that aligns to your spine. But it also has 6 speakers built into it. So you're watching movies differently, listen to music differently, listen to podcasts like this one differently. Plus, if you play video games, you'll never play video games the same way ever again. Do more with your mattress and try out the Vibrasonic. Scan the code on the screen or click the link below. Have a good sleep. Hi, beautiful human. I'm Zach. That is Dan. Welcome to the studio. Matt and Eli of Two Friends.
Hey.
Thanks for having us, guys.
Stoked to be here.
Very true to Brandon name, Two Friends.
That's what we are.
Friends since 7th grade.
Yeah, we met in 7th grade. We did the whole Friends thing for about 6 years. And then
Tried out the friend stuff.
we tried the Friends thing. You know, it had potential, but basically when we were graduating high school, we're like, okay, we are losing all our purpose in life. We're not playing sports in college. We're not doing all these things we used to do. And we're like, okay, we're already friends. You want to learn how to make music and DJ. Didn't even know what that meant at all. But we're just like, okay, yeah. So we downloaded a program and...
Well, yeah, you download numerous programs, but like you had, one of you had a background in some sort of music, right? Like you played guitar, you sang choir.
That was Matt, yeah. Both of us had a little complementary skills,
set,
interests.
yes.
Matt was doing guitar. He was in the choir. I was experimenting with mashups and very, very basic DJing stuff. And then, yeah, it was end of high school. We're just like, all right, let's give this a try. Had no real roadmap. And that was this was 2011. So it was crazy how quickly it turned in our high school from when we were doing it. We were the only duo that was, messing around with like electronic music. There were a bunch of bands and, people, whatever, doing little garage bands. And then 4 years later, it totally flipped. And
yeah, like our siblings are younger, and they said our high school was just filled with DJs. Everyone was a DJ. And, like,
and you're the odd one out if you're doing a traditional band.
Yeah, so we jumped on the train at the right time.
Yeah.
But yeah, we kind of like, he was always, messing around with stuff, and I had no clue what that was. And then we were just like best friends. So we're like, all right, we're going off to colleges, but let's figure out what this even means.
Like, what type of stuff were you making before you guys went to colleges? Because you went to great schools, and it wasn't until you were partway through college that you end up taking this like legitimately and really seriously.
I mean, we were always like putting in the hours, but there's such a learning curve where like, you're making the worst beats known to man in the beginning. Like it's just horrible. And then eventually like you make a few more and 100 more. And then it's like, okay, this is actually decent. But we started off more like, he was kind of into electronic music early on. Like 2011, I think like Levels came out. So like, that's kind of like, that was like a driver. Like
it changes everything.
Yeah. That's
where were you
where
when
were you?
Levels came out?
No, but like, that's kind of when like it started becoming a little bit on the radio in the US and stuff like that. So we were more into hip hop beats. And it would probably be, I don't know, maybe a year into college, we're just like, okay, these rappers hate us. Like, we are horrible or we're just not meant for this. And then we were like, all right, in electronic music, it's your song. You can do whatever you want if you make it. So we're like, all right, let's try that.
Interesting. So, okay, while you're doing this long distance music relationship, you're mainly making beats that you're just trying to sell to rappers, right?
Yeah.
But not even sell, to be clear.
free.
To make $0 and pray that they will do something with it.
It's more like beg. Please take this.
I don't know you. I don't even know if you can rhyme, but here.
Well, so that actually, there's a funny story about this. So we would literally just do BCC with 300 rappers and, say... hey, I love your stuff. Try to keep it where it works for 300. But so one of our friends knew we were doing this, and he made a Yahoo email account. This is in like 2011.
This is in the summer after freshman year, so we're still super early into this.
Yeah.
But like, we had a year of like sending beats.
And so he's like, he made a Yahoo email address, Malcolm McCormick 93 at yahoo.com, which is Mac Miller's full name. And he sent us an email saying, hey, like my buddy told me that you were sending him beats. I checked them out. They're awesome. Like, we need a link up in the studio.
This was at like probably like 11 p.m. on a Saturday, home from summer, and we get this email. We're not together, but I'm just like, I text Eli. I'm like, oh my God, check our email. And it's 11 p.m. Like, I was getting ready to go to bed, and I just could not sleep the whole night. I was so excited. And then when we woke up, we just slowly started realizing, like, maybe this isn't real. Like,
we did answer.
We answered right away.
And it's so embarrassing. We ended up like posting this on Instagram. We found the old picture. It was such a formal reply. It was like, hello, Mac. Thank you for your inquiry.
Hello, Malcolm.
We would be thrilled to work together. Please let us know more information. I was like, oh
God.
no.
So basically, we found out.
It was our friend Ben who
He swindled us.
Yeah, he's classic.
In the moment, we were very pissed, but it was a good one. And he doesn't only do it on us; he does it on other people.
Yeah.
So we don't take it personally.
But it is a really interesting time because it's a moment in. I can make the case that like between like 2008 and 2011, 12, 13, it was a really unique time in just the society because we have this thing called the internet. We've grown up with the internet to a certain degree. There's new information and access to people that like, yes, like you were able to use and exploit, but a whole new generation is able to utilize this information to build careers off of.
Yeah.
Like, do you have any emails I've sent to people trying to get guests on our show dating back to 2007, 2008? Yep. And I still see all the fucking emails. And you want to know something? I remember every fucking asshole who didn't answer me. And you want to know what I do now? I mostly don't answer them. It's fucked up. It's fucked up.
Remember.
But it was a different access to information. Do you get what I'm saying? Like,
no, there's the receipts always. And it's like, that's, you have to, there was, I would say probably 30 years ago, it's like, how are you supposed to get in contact with people? Now you can just DM anyone, and yeah, they might not see it, they might not respond, but like at least you can swing your shot.
But even 25 years ago, like there's access to people's emails like you never had before. Like, dude, like it's so funny. Like the fact that you even had, whether it was real or not, the ability to acquire all these fucking emails and just shoot your shot no matter what.
Yeah.
It's really
it was mostly airballs, but we tried.
But like a part of it doesn't matter. Like you kind of need to do it to build up skin too.
I think that's a huge part early on. Is like you're not gonna have anyone else do that for you. You don't really have a team yet. So I think, to be honest, especially early on, it was like kind of fun to not just be exclusively working on music. I mean, that was obviously the priority and the main thing. But like we were sort of starting a business, doing networking, trying to build a team, social media. And I think it was definitely helpful early on to like do it all ourselves.
Yeah, it's just like self-manage, grind, figure out what the music industry even is. Like if you're focused 100% of the time on music, like that doesn't leave any time for someone to hear it, figure it out.
When did you realize, or is this shift gradual, right? Do you go from doing beats that you feel like could work for rappers and then just shift to beats that you feel like could work for any vocalists that are for EDM purposes or dance music purposes? Or do you go right into more of a mashup lane that you were toying with while in high school?
I think we were kind of, on the production side, we kind of did a hard stop. We went from hip hop beats to like, all right, let's figure out our own songs. On the mashup side, we were always playing with it because Eli was playing with it a little in high school. And then after that, we kind of were like, all right, let's figure out actually how to produce music because we'll need that in our career. But at the same time we were playing with single mashups here and there, like this song with this song. And as we kind of grew, maybe by like sophomore year in college, we're like, all right, we still have all these little mashups here and we're starting to produce music and, remixes and stuff like that. Well, what can we do with these mashups? And that's kind of like how we started the Big Booty mixes, which are like an hour long of like mashups and just a lot of chaos, a lot of stuff going on. So we kind of like combined all these little things. We would throw them up on SoundCloud. Like, it would literally be like, it would be like Drake with like some random rock instrumental.
Well, the Lana Del Rey one definitely changes your life, no?
That was a remix that one was really good because basically
that was a funny story. So this is still early on. We're in college. It's just the two of us.
2014.
2014, yeah. And we just get a DM one day from one of the guys at SiriusXM, and he's just like,
Who was it?
Geronimo, who does like the dance channel, and he was like, "Hey guys, love your stuff."
We had not talked to him. At
We had
this
never
point,
met. This was just a cold DM.
but we knew of him.
And he's like, there's this Lana Del Rey record, Born to Die. I think it could really use a dance remix. And we're like, oh, of course. Like,
This guy even knows who we are. Like, amazing.
So that was like number one priority. Drop everything else for the next 2 or 3 weeks or whatever it was. We sent him a V1, like first draft, not planning that it was going to be the final version, just checking in like, hey, what do you think of this? And his answer was like, turn on your radios in 30 minutes.
Speaking of, we're in college dorms. We don't have cars. We don't have anything. So we're like, Mom, go in the garage.
I made his mom and my little brother were like, sit in, we don't know exactly what time, but sit in that seat,
Film the radio.
turn your camera on, just like, don't stop until they play it. And that was really cool. That was like one of those things where, it's not like all of a sudden everyone started calling and booking us or whatever, but it was just like, I think, especially when we were in college, a little more proof that like, we're growing, we're on the right path, little victory of like, keep going.
Also, validation of your talent and validation of a skill that goes on to like very much shape your business.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just the idea that someone was like listening that was respected in the industry, big. Because
By the way, when I don't mean to make it seem like everyone was like doubting us and hating us. You'll never make it. Like that was not the case.
Well, it's more like, I mean, our families and stuff were supportive, and a lot of musicians' families are sometimes not, sometimes are supportive, but like it's more like indifference around the world. Like no one cares. Like everyone's grinding, doing their own thing. So once you get like a small group to care, I think that's the biggest thing ever.
It is a testament to what you're creating, right? Literally, in some cases out of nothing. But what's interesting about this is that you're not creating out of nothing, right? You're taking inspiration from what already exists and is familiar, but you're making it your own. So how many in addition to Big Booty Mix Volume 1, you had that out, but how many mashups had you made prior to the Lana Del Rey one, do you think? And prior to Volume 1.
So the Lana Del Rey one was a remix. So that was on the production side, which was kind of cool.
So not a mashup, it's
not
a
a
remix.
mashup. Yeah, we were kind of
Got it.
doing the two avenues at the same time, which we've kind of continued to do with everything, which has been helpful for us. But I mean, in terms of like single mashups, like, I mean, it's not only when you're making a mashup, you're not just like doing this vocal, this instrumental. You're trying 20 vocals with 20 instrumentals. So it's countless, like literally a million.
Well, especially now. I know you asked about it originally, but like, so now we're about to release volume 24 in LA, February 10th at the Forum. And so we've done 24 of these. They've grown over the years also of how much material's in them. Like, the first mix may have had 60 songs in that hour. The newer ones have close to 250. So
in an hour?
In an hour. Some are vocals, some are instrumentals, some happen quickly, some are, so I would say between all 24 volumes, if you add it up, it's got to be 5,000 songs that we've used. So it's just a lot of trying stuff. We just have a library of different material to work with and put this on top of that.
And obviously new songs come out, which is the only way you can keep making those mixes.
What makes a good mashup then? Is it how many songs you can get into so little time? Like what quantifies it?
I don't think it really, no one really cares if you're doing it just to do it and just cramming in as much as you can. For us, I think it's always been the goal is like do something unique. So like, if you take a super popular EDM vocal and a super popular EDM instrumental and you put them on top of each other, there's a very good chance it'll sound pleasant. It's not necessarily as interesting as maybe you're taking, a rock vocal from the 70s and putting it on this newer, this Avicii song or whatever it is. So I think that's what we're trying to do also is like try to find stuff that's maybe memorable and something you haven't really
something
heard.
that like contrasts, the vocal or the instrumental, or if you're doing multiple vocals, like you would never think like Bon Jovi would work with like Miley Cyrus, but like sometimes
I've been
it does.
singing it from that fucking mashup for the last 40 minutes. No, totally. That is. How many hours do you think it takes you to make one perfect hour?
A long time.
A lot. We kind of that's the other thing, going back to like, we kind of have different avenues. We're working on the original music. We're remixing sometimes. We're doing these mixes. We're on the road touring. So it's rare that we're just like locked in our studio exclusively focusing on one of those things. It's a lot of times, especially with two of us. It's a lot of times, all right, first couple hours of the day, we're working together on these things. Now split up. You do that. You do, so it's hard to sometimes add it all up, but
I mean,
definitely
so many hundreds. Months.
So that's the thing. Sometimes, we'll get a lot of requests of like, oh, can you do a custom Big Booty mix for my wedding? And like, we would love to, but like, it also is going to take 6 months, and we would have to give up every other opportunity. So, yeah.
How do you divide and conquer in a studio?
I think every duo is different. There's obviously a lot of DJ duos, production duos, but I think a lot of it comes down to like trust. Like, we know where our skills lie. We know that we're both working hard. So like with those two check boxes, good things happen. I'm going to work on this song. You're going to work on, these combos for Big Booty Mix 24 or whatever it is. And then we're going to exchange notes at the end and be like, all right, what do you think about this? What do I think about that? And that's kind of like the best collaboration, because sometimes this is how I see it. If I'm like, let's say I'm not at the computer and I'm just watching him do something for like 3 hours and just like listening, it's like my ears get used to something. I don't have that fresh perspective. But if he's been working on something and I come in at hour 3, I will immediately have a first impression, be like, this is great. This is horrible.
Oh, interesting.
Like, you know what to do right away. And we use that like to our advantage.
So you really can't be doing the same tasks. Or
I mean,
working on the
sometimes
same,
you can,
or
like
different parts of a project.
Yeah. I mean, you can, and some people do that, but honestly, I think we've found like what works for us. And, that could be, maybe I'm working on this song and he's working on that. And then maybe we'll bring other collaborators into the studio, like we'll bring other writers and things like that. You just have to basically work off your strengths and get cool people so that it's not the same song every time. It's not the same XYZ every time. You want a new flavor.
What are each one of your strengths and how are they different from one another?
Well, when it comes down to it, I would say we both work really hard and we both have like similar ears. So that's like the thesis, but and that's helpful because then we're not arguing about like little decisions here and there. We'll have discussions, but it's so much easier if you're not arguing about this snare drum and this kick and constantly. I would say sometimes I'm working on more of the production stuff and he's working more on the Big Booty Mix side, but that's like such a generalization. We're so involved in both sides and we're both writing, we're both producing, we're both figuring out the DJ side.
But I mean, to be honest, it makes you think like we really give a lot of props, especially in the DJ world, to the people doing it alone. Because it's a lot of stuff. It's really, you build a team around you to help as much as you can. But like, there's still so much stuff to do and think about. And so having two to divide and conquer, obviously for us, it's second nature, but it's scary to think of.
I don't even know. I can't even imagine being a solo person in this. Because I don't know what I would do.
We've been doing this for so long together that like if there's something new that we're adding on our to-do list, we know immediately like, okay, Matt, you're going to knock this out. I don't even have to think about this. Or the opposite. Or, okay, cool, don't worry, I'll do that, or we'll do this together. So it's almost like we have such a good, it's not even a system because we don't even really think about it. Just kind of we know at this point.
It's called subconscious competence.
There we go.
We got to start saying that.
Competence, the best thing in the world. You know what I mean?
But you don't even think about it. You just know exactly what to do.
Exactly.
Because you've been doing it. You've like had 10,000 hours put into this. I don't know, like probably 10 years ago or something.
Absolutely. And you kind of, you will obviously come together at the end and be like, all right, like we're not just putting out a song separately. It's like we're working on it together, but a lot of it is sweat hours and like not both people don't need to be doing the exact same thing. Sometimes it's honestly more productive. I say this all the time. At the end of a studio day, if I'm like constantly listening to the same thing I've been working on, I could be in this loop of just looping this thing for an hour. If I just don't listen to it and come in fresh in the morning, I will fix it in 5 minutes. Biggest productivity hack in the world for musicians. And people know that, like, you're going to trick your ears. Your ears get used to things. You don't really know what sounds good if you've been listening to the same thing for 3 hours.
It's true. I'm trying to get like a timeline of just operation and flow of music. When do you first do your original music? Like when did you decide to like write an original song for the first time?
So it kind of all is happening simultaneously, and that's the other thing is, again, you know, like we're in college, it's just the two of us. Like we kind of there, you know, we were doing a lot of different things all together, and for us, we thought that it was kind of a benefit of like, you know, we can get some people from making the original music, and those people will now learn that we also do the Big Booty mix mashup stuff, and vice versa. You know, these people found us through those mixes, but now come check it out. We also just dropped an original.
Yeah, because your debut EP is You and Me, parentheses me.
Yes.
That's original music.
That was original. That was while we were in college.
Yeah,
but,
while we were in college. That was like some of the first songs we put out. And they were more like in the progressive house lane, which is kind of what was popping in EDM in that time. And we've kind of slowly shifted more to just like, all right, do we like this? Does this sound good? We're not like sticking to like a certain
It's usually
BPM.
still dancey and poppy, but I mean, it's funny because looking back when we were in college, there was not really a guidebook or rules. So it was just in the best way ever. So it was just like, hey, you know, we've been doing some remixes. What if we write a song? And it was like, I don't know how to write a song. And it was like, okay, well, let's
try.
listen to stuff we like. Let's figure out what to do. Let's try it. Let's work with cool people. And then it was like, okay, cool. Now we're writers.
Yeah, like I found stuff. I found cool people at my school. He found cool people at his school, and like we kind of, it'd be funny. It'd be like, hey, I'm going to record with Jane Doe. Like I don't know this person, but she's in the Vanderbilt choir. Let's check her out. We're gonna write this song. She's gonna sing it. So he would just like book this like college studio. And I'd just come back with like dry vocal stems. I'm like, oh, it's pretty good. You know? And then we do it vice versa. We both did it. So it was kind of like a weird time because we were, I don't know, 2,000 miles away from each other. But we were constantly working, constantly trying to like use our tiny networks to like get cool people on songs and figure this out, like how to write, how to make music.
But this timeline wise, so this college was 2011 to 2015. And so that's where, you know, the foundation was started, kind of got in the groove where instead of, we got like the first year we got summer jobs, but then the other years, summer was just like, all right, we are interns at Two Friends Music headquarters. And this is what it's going to be like if we do this after college. You know, let's get in a routine of, we show up at the studio, we do X, Y, Z, we're building all these things. And so by the time we graduated in 2015, it was one day, you know, the first Monday after graduation was, we're back in the studio.
Not that we were like making money or anything. At that point, we were still like, okay, we have some momentum. Let's try this. But it was almost, you know, the summers before that, we're like, all right, can we even focus for 8 to 10 hours a day, get in at 9 a.m. and like do this? And like the answer was yes. We loved doing it.
It's interesting that you guys kind of developed on your own, but had like this relationship that was happening parallel to that, you know? So it's, I don't know, it's a different origin story for a duo.
Yeah. Well, I think it's because if we met each other, like, you know, right before we went out to college, I don't think it would have worked like that. You know, we didn't know each other, but because we were friends, like literally friends, not musicians, not, you know, business partners before, we kind of just like knew each other really well. And it almost was an extension of that.
Do you feel like your friendship gets stronger, or does it become harder to stay friends now that business is so deeply entrenched in all of it? But also on top of that, like creative integrity is also entrenched in all of it too.
It's a great question.
It's a lot.
Yeah, no, we're not friends anymore.
But by the way, like people would come in here and say that.
You need to say you're kidding.
No. No, I mean, I think the funny thing is we have a lot of our high school and college friends in LA with us, and we will hang out in groups, which is funny. Will we hang out separately? Like maybe not as much because we literally see each other 6 or 7 days a week.
We're in the studio all day, every day during the week. And then on the weekends, we're flying to different cities. And so like the joke has sometimes been Sunday afternoon. Like, you know, we'll be on the weekend. We'll do a whatever, Friday, Saturday night in Miami and Vegas, whatever. And Sunday morning, we fly home. We get to LAX at noon, get in our Ubers, and it's like, all right, don't even text me, don't talk to me. I'll see you in like 12 hours, so give me some peace.
No,
And-
but I think we hang out so much that you have to be friends.
Yeah,
Like,
you're
it's-
still friends.
Yeah,
though.
no, of course.
Because
And
some people couldn't stand to be around each other, but still have to be around each other.
I would say this, for how much time I spend with him, if there was anyone else in the world, it'd be 10 times worse. We like
That's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me.
we rarely argue. We rarely have any bickering. So I don't think there's a person in the world that would be less, more perfect for someone I'm with
Wow.
140 hours a week.
Thank you.
What's the longest you guys have spent apart since your careers have taken off?
It's
Has to be on some like family
yeah, like a family
vacation.
trip, which even that would probably be a week, 10 days. And then even then, it's like obviously we are FaceTiming and
What do you think
emailing.
the
and
longest
there was time when you were on that boat where you didn't have.
I was in the Galapagos. I did not have service for like 4 days. That was probably
that was like
the longest we haven't texted in our entire life.
And I remember I would do like nightly recaps. I knew he wouldn't get this text, but it was for when he got back to civilization. So it was like, all right, Monday went great. Here was a couple important notes. Here's what you might, whatever.
When I got off that boat, that was the scariest, like,
Is our career still alive?
yeah, I
Did he
was like, good
did I
job,
mess us
Eli.
all up?
Yeah, he held it down.
When did you write an original song that you felt deeply, deeply proud of?
That's a good question, because I think when your first original song, unless like everyone else is like doing it for you, it's just not going to be good. It might be okay, and like we probably for the first one we put out was probably not the first one we ever started, but I would say by like of ones we're still proud of, and maybe they're not our favorite song, but maybe Forever or something.
Forever.
Yeah, we put the song out in probably like 2016, maybe. And it was kind of like the first song that was like signed to a legit label for us in the dance world, and definitely garnered some like buzz. So people were like, "Oh, these guys are like a little bit on the scene," and like it got some radio love. And then after that, the year after that, we put out a few songs that still we play in our sets like every time. We put out a song called Out of Love.
PCH was on that, yeah.
PCH, Pacific Coast Highway, and Emily, and we still play like Emily is like a highlight of our set every time.
Do you still play While We're Dreaming?
Ooh, that's a
we
throwback.
don't.
It's been a while that we've played that at a show.
But we do love that
It's
one.
a fun one. I really like
Yeah.
that one.
How do you determine which of your originals make it in there and which doesn't? And how do you divide between other people's songs and your own in
That's
the set?
like the hardest
We
question.
spend a lot of time.
I don't think we've
talking
ever
about
even
that.
answered that question.
But it's definitely a part of when we are like thinking about shows and a new tour, and even when we're trying to keep our set fresh for clubs. It's always like, all right, you're balancing. It's also different, very different if you're going to you're doing a concert versus like a club set. It's different crowds sometimes, but I think you want to find the balance of. You want the energy to be high. You want the people to have fun. You don't want to be, you want them to be singing along to things that they hopefully know. And then you're also like, okay, but a lot of people are here to see us and they want to hear our original music. And it's weird if we don't.
Yeah.
So
it's such a balance. And I think as you grow as artists and get bigger, you want to play more and more of your original music. So that's kind of been our mantra. Like we are trying to play as much original music as we can in sometimes cool ways. Like maybe it's not in the original format that you'd hear on Amazon or Spotify or Apple. Like it's in a new way that like the diehard listener who knows the original song is like, whoa, that was cool. And B, the person who's just there going out for a fun night is like, okay, that was cool as well. So it's definitely this balance, and every DJ has to go through this. Like even the DJs with the biggest songs, like, yeah, they're going to play those songs, but like maybe the deep cuts, like they really love those songs and people might not know them, every word at least. So, you got to find that balance.
How do you look at like a residency club crowd compared to a show crowd? Like, do you see a residency as an opportunity to test things?
Totally. So yeah, so we're in Vegas. We're at the Wynn Encore every other week, basically. And it's fun because that crowd, it's actually funny. There are a couple people that are the locals that come by every single time. And it's like, guys, we love you. Thank you. You've also been here 24 times this year. Like, we appreciate it no matter
You are
what.
the one
Yeah.
stressing me out to make the set super fresh.
Because everyone else besides there's a new crowd, but you guys keep us on, keep us honest.
Yeah, you keep us honest.
But yeah, no, so I think it's definitely become a thing where we test out a lot of new stuff and kind of see if it's going to last and be a staple of our set. And I think, yeah, I mean, it's you're playing in Vegas, for example. It's usually a crowd that is brand new every time. So again, it's that balance of
It's a good test, though, of the country and the
Totally,
world,
totally.
right? Because it's very much a global crossroad.
Complete
Totally.
melting pot. Some people don't speak English, so it's like, what are you gonna play that they're gonna, get down to? So it's the great equalizer. You
And
can
it-
tell right away if
Yeah.
like people are into it or not.
And it's a balance of, again, testing out new stuff, updating everything, but also it's like, because it is mostly a new crowd, you want to also put on the best show. And, if you have stuff is high energy stuff,
Yeah,
that
the big moments.
secret weapons.
Yeah,
bust out
I
the
mean, we
secret
bring our
weapons.
saxophonist to every show. Shout out Casey.
Yeah, you have
And, like,
fireworks that come out of that thing, eh?
so they don't let us do it in Vegas, but maybe they will one day. We're trying.
That's
At some of the
crazy.
bigger shows, we do crazy shit like that. But yeah, like we know what moments that make the crowd just like lose their minds with him and some other songs as well. And it's like, we kind of need to play that because we know people want to hear it. So it's such he'll send me a set like 3 days before. I'm like, okay, did we already play that too much? It's this fine balance of like keeping it fresh, but also giving people who have never seen you the best first impression.
It really is this interesting art, and I look forward to seeing you guys perform. Like, I really am excited, and I love watching DJs perform. It fulfills me in a very unique way because it is this like immediate understanding of the crowd, right? Like, you control the crowd, you have to read the crowd, you can feel their energy shift almost immediately. And then, like, what a residency means to a DJ's larger career always fascinated me. Like, one of the like a standout memory that I have is I saw Zed perform one time, and we walked to where he performs, and he told me that he just finished like seconds ago in his hotel room the "Do It To It" Squid Games remix,
No
and
way.
he was gonna play it for the fucking first time. And I'm like, I don't really know what the fuck you're talking about because I haven't seen Squid Games yet because it was so early. But I'm like, that's sick.
Yeah.
I'm really excited. And then you watch him open with this thing. You see everybody go fucking wild. And then it becomes one of the biggest things.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not forever, but of that year for that
it was
era.
huge.
Yeah.
It was huge.
It was the musical component to a huge cultural moment.
Yeah.
And to watch that, like, just be tested out on this crowd for the first time. But also, like, I was thinking about, like, there is no team over there. Like, there's a team, but to your point, like, it's...
Yeah, in the end, it's like Zed just decides, yo, this is a cool idea. I want to test this. I'm going to play it at EDC next week. Like, I need to try it right now in Vegas.
100%.
I mean, we do that all the time, especially with our saxophonists. Like, the morning of or the day before, we'll be like, hey, what if we try this
I mean,
tomorrow
he's
in
literally
Vegas?
texting us right now, like videos of like, okay, we had this idea. Try this, try this. We tried stuff in Vegas. Some of it was so damn good last week. Some of it was like, okay, we can improve that. So it's like this constant like improvement
It's also,
process.
I've always said, I think it'd be maybe no one else would care, but a like reality TV show of like the Vegas DJs would just be hilarious. It's just,
Are you
it's
kidding?
just such a funny like ecosystem. And like now, because we were there last year and we're there again this year, it's like, we hear all like the gossip, which DJs switching hotels, what new club is opening up. And it's
that
hilarious.
actually would be a good
But
show.
10 out of 10 would watch.
Yeah.
100%. I kind of floated with Drew and Alex. I did like a weekend with them and just like did from the fucking jet to the hotel to back to LA.
Yeah.
And that is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
It is fucking crazy. Talk about it is a reality show.
Oh, yeah.
The whole thing, by the way, the whole thing's a reality show.
Yeah.
It is in how meticulous it all is though. Like every detail, but also it is wild and loose and like nothing is accounted for, but everything is accounted for.
I know exactly what you mean.
It's-
Hard to describe. It's just
yeah.
like if you know, you know.
You gotta
That's
be
like-
there.
By the
Yeah.
way, we'd love to host you at a show, but you'll have to fly commercial with
That's
us.
fucking okay.
all right.
Flights on me, boys. Flights on me.
Come on through.
Steer it all day.
Is it as cool as it seems though to be a Vegas DJ? Like, do you feel like, wow, I'm the man tonight? Like, I'm DJing this club.
I think because there's two of us, we would always kind of keep each other in check. If
Oh,
you ever
yeah.
if you ever do start feeling like too much of the man, we'll
You
humble
get
each other
humbled
real
real
quick. I
Our
think
crew as well.
it's
They'll
also
humble you.
for in terms of just like growth and career-wise, it's amazing, and it's definitely something we work towards. I think it's also, again, that balance of like sometimes there's nothing just like a concert, where it's a little more of our show that we're building and building a stage, building the whole night. But yeah, I mean, it's awesome, and it's especially living in LA. It's just like a fun tradition now we have where it's like, all right, we have our road crew. There's 5 of us that usually go.
Oftentimes to Vegas, it's fun shirt day. That means on the airplane, you have to wear a fun shirt. There was a big debacle last week, fun shirt day.
Yeah, I showed up in my fun shirt. And
it was.
No one
we
else
weren't
did.
sure if it was actually fun shirt day.
It was ultimate betrayal. But yeah, so it's like just a funny thing we do where it's like, all right, we get to Vegas, we all have dinner, we all are out till 3 a.m. doing a show. We're up at 7:30 back in the lobby to go to back home, and we get home, and it's Sunday morning, and we're like,
the sleeps aren't great. I'll say that.
Well, that was the weirdest thing that I didn't understand. It was like, so everybody's out until 3 to 6 a.m., but then they're like, oh yeah, you got to be down at the lobby to get to the plane at fucking 6:30 in the morning. So I'm like, okay, cool. So we just don't sleep, right?
Yeah.
And you just exist.
It's like
sometimes it's self-inflicted because we want to have some daylight back home and
have a little bit
exist.
of a normal life.
But yeah, I mean, it's funny. It's like, it's also Vegas specifically, a lot of people are only going once a year, once every few years. So when we have friends or guests, like for them, it's like best weekend ever, best night, partying all night. And for us, we're like, we were here 4 days ago. It's a Wednesday night.
It's not only Vegas, like a lot of these cities that do the nightclub thing, they're just so late. Like I'm more of a 10 p.m., 10:15. Let's get into bed, wind down. So it's the opposite. Like Miami's even later for us, like 1:30 to 3:30. New York, same thing. So it's you gotta adjust. I will fall asleep before the shows. By the way, those shows, I always make sure we do dinner early so I get a nap in. And
so it's
then
more. He's doing a morning set.
It's a morning set. Yeah.
Well, our friend was DJing in Vegas, and he wasn't going on till like 2 or 3 in the morning. I'm like, no, I'm not going to that.
That's crazy. I know. I mean, I think it's the reason why they do it. I don't even think people in Vegas want to be up that late. Really, what it is the headliner will go on later because, they want the club to stay open and popping longer. It's just a money thing, but it makes sense. We all just have to live with it.
But it is an interesting situation for y'all because out of every show, only a certain amount of people are going to know you, but you're accruing new fans every single time.
Definitely.
So, like, it is literally like every time you perform in Vegas, you have the ability to take however many people are in that club and attach them to your brand and see where the fuck it goes.
And I think that's, when we are developing kind of what we want to do in a show, I think we try to think outside the box sometimes and realize that, it's not just about what songs you're playing, but it's what are the special moments. We bring out our saxophonist, sometimes special guest vocalists when we can.
What's the video that they're going to post on their stories? Like,
Totally.
because you want them. I mean, everyone makes fun of phones at shows, but it's like, if they're not, that means they're probably not that interested.
So how does it all work in terms of a production? Like, when you're bringing in live instruments attached to like fucking 2 decks or whatever you call it?
I mean,
like,
every show is different. There's like, last summer we had a bus tour, full bus tour, 30 shows. And that was like literally we are going to these massive venues and there was nothing in there. Not even sound sometimes. Like it's just a box. So we have to bring in sound. We have to bring in lights. We have to bring in flames. We have to bring in lasers. We have to bring in the huge LED walls. We have to bring in all the things that make it work
expensive.
with. Yeah, it's so expensive.
But it's so fun. It's 2 months. We had a couple buses where there's, I think there were 23 of us or something like that.
24, yeah.
And, everyone's just living together for 2 months, building the show that you kind of just keep perfecting. And
so on the, that's on like the bigger side of the shows, you can really control it, but also it's a lot of work for everybody. It's expensive, but you can do your vision perfectly. The club ones are so fun because we can also have fun and like play what we want and still do, like we'll still bring our saxophonist every time. But we can experiment a little more. It's a little more set up. The production's amazing every single time. We don't have to bring anything in. So, it's good to keep it fresh.
In that moment, it's like you want to give them the elements of what makes your show
Yeah.
because the hope is that the next time they
Yeah.
see you, it's not in Vegas again. It's
Yeah,
Totally.
no,
Hey,
exactly. I
aren't
mean,
you?
they're going home, they're talking about it, they're showing their friends videos. So it's like exactly like you said. It's really a time to. It's a disbursement method, you know. Like you just want them to take it home and have a good memory, and then like come to another show somewhere else.
This last tour, does it lead into the Big Booty Festival?
It was actually during it. So we had Big Booty Land, and that was in Chicago, the last one, premiere of Big Booty Mix 23. And that was like dead in the middle of the tour, extremely stressful. Everyone was working 110%, but it was so cool. It was at Huntington Bank Pavilion in Chicago, which is like off Northerly Island, which is like insane.
Right on the water.
Taylor Swift was the same night, so the traffic was absolutely like the worst thing I've ever seen in my life.
And our claim to fame, though. So the event organizer surprised us and did a really cool fireworks show for selling out the venue. So we didn't know about this. And at the end of the show, fireworks start going off. We thought it was going to be like 30 seconds. It ended up being like 10 minutes. And the claim to fame is that we got a couple Taylor Swift fans to be tweeting like, those fireworks didn't really make sense. Why did she choose this song?
Yeah, it was in the middle of some piano ballad.
Yeah.
It was just like,
And
oh,
we're like,
God.
that was us.
Yeah.
We did it.
We did that. The Swifties. No, but that was a great memory. And then it just went right back into the tour. So the next Big Booty Land is in like
Soon.
3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 weeks in LA. Right here.
At
Oh,
the
this is our
Forum?
hometown.
How's
The
this one
Forum.
going to be bigger than the last one?
Well, this is our first arena headline. So
Oh,
that's a
shit.
big one for
At
us.
home,
Mazel
too.
tov.
At home.
Yeah.
Yeah,
crazy.
so we'll have all the family, friends, everything. We're going massive. It's gonna
Yeah,
be
so the
sick.
idea for the Big Booty Land festivals is kind of choose a new location to premiere each new mix. So first one, it actually started during COVID. We would do virtual premieres because we weren't on the road. So we thought, all right, instead of just upload this mix to SoundCloud, what if we rent out a warehouse? It's going to be empty, obviously, but we'll build a stage, we'll have lights, we'll have visuals, and we'll film a video of premiering this new mix. And it worked so way better than we thought. So by the time we were able to get back on the road, we're like, all right, we got to keep this going. So Boston was the first in-person premiere, Big Booty Land event, and then did Chicago. Now it's coming to the West Coast to LA.
So if I go, will I be able to meet some of these characters?
Oh,
Like
absolutely.
We got-
Thickums McGillicuddy?
He's a fan
That's who
favorite.
you want. That's
who
who I
you want
want
to meet.
It might be a long line because he's a
Yeah.
he's a fan favorite.
Big Booty Man is like the main guy, and it's a two-headed guy. I have one of the heads. He is another, and then a torso that is much more in shape than both of us. But he's the superhero of the universe.
Wait, so
and
you
then-
do have like mascot costumes?
Oh, we got mascot costumes. We got inflatables. It's a whole thing.
So there's an assless Jack?
There's an
Ask
assless Jack.
Jack.
That's
He's no good. He's a villain.
Okay, got it. Yeah, he's the leader of Slim Bobway
Slim Baba, yeah.
Zimbabwe, yeah.
and the sworn enemy of Big Booty Man. He hates a good time and loves when the music stops. He recently was defeated by Big Booty Man in World War II.
World War III,
World War
actually.
III, yeah.
I'm so
World
sorry.
War II.
Yeah, I think World War II
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah, I
Sorry,
think it
World War
happened.
III. Okay, yeah, we missed. I didn't know if it was like back, as
Yeah,
like
no,
a historical
1939,
thing.
yeah.
No, this just started. That also just started as just a kind of randomly, where it was like we would play around with different cover arts for each of the mixes, and one of them was just kind of comic book themed, The Adventures of Big Booty Man, and we got a character, a superhero with both of our heads, and it kind of just people
Yeah,
thought it was
loved
fun,
it.
and we're like, all right, cool, we'll
Yeah.
expand this.
So all the characters are at Big Booty Lands.
You build out a whole lore and universe.
totally.
Oh yeah.
Who thought of the name Big Booty originally, like 15 years ago?
I think so. What it means is, in the DJ world, you can say a bootleg is it. What it technically means, I think, is an unofficial remix. So we had all these little mashups, and they weren't maybe technically bootlegs, whatever, but we had a lot of bootlegs. We're like, all right, let's put them all together, make a 60-minute mix. A big bootleg, aka Big Booty.
It makes so much sense. I never would have
There
thought
you
of
go.
that.
So it wasn't all about butts. I will say the first, I don't
Oh, I
know,
know,
maybe
yeah.
like five artworks just had like asses on them. Our moms were not a fan. So
Now they
girlfriends at
don't.
the
Now they
time,
don't.
not happy.
To be fair, they were fan submitted. We would ask people to submit artworks for the mixes,
Yeah.
and then people could vote. And of course, it's like the top 10 are all just there's like 9 asses and one like actually elegantly designed
Yeah.
one, and the votes just go to
Yeah,
the
they
ass.
go to the asses. So y'all are dogs.
I love this universe that you've created.
It's been fun. It's been cool. And, you know, it's like outside of music, like you got to stay creative in other ways.
How are you determining which songs make it into the mix?
It's a process.
Or
It
mashup.
is
Such a long process.
It's a fun part of the process, but it's basically the first step is just the trial and error phase. So we kind of throughout the years, we just amass different material. The instrumentals, we'll literally DM people, hey, can you send an instrumental version of that song? Or we'll find it on, DJ record pools
or we'll hear songs on the radio or like songs from like 40 years ago, and we'll literally just email ourselves, Big Booty 24, name of song, acapella, boom. And then like we'll just like get a list, and then eventually he'll start messing around, trying 10 vocals over this instrumental, and it'll literally be like 500 things I have to listen to like 5 times. So it takes absolute hours, and then I'll get my 500 lines of notes. He'll do it.
But that's all. The reason I like to go so broad and get to 500 is because basically at the end of it, we each Big Booty mix is it's 60 minutes long, and that's probably around 40 mashup sections that are each 90 seconds. And so we only need 40. So if I send him 500, it's very relieving to be like, all right, you could tell me that 460 are absolute garbage. If there's just tell me there's 40 in there that
Just
are
scientifically, it's like it's gonna win.
Yeah, and so luckily there's usually more than 40, and then we kind of just
Whittle it down
whittle
from
it
there.
down, yeah.
Then you have to go through.
But I will say
combos.
sometimes he's a little harsh. Usually not to hurt my feelings. There's one per year or so where
We
he
should
will
just find that note. How would I find that?
he will
note?
tell me. So we'll send back an email, and it's literally it's like number 78. Solid, could be better. 79, great, let's use this. Number 80, wow, this is actually the worst thing you've ever sent. I can't tell if this is a joke. I'm really surprised you included this. And deep down, it's like, no, that wasn't a joke.
I really need to find this note.
It was Hercules. It was I Can Go the Distance from Hercules.
Michael Bolton version or Roger Bart?
Well, what's the one in the movie?
Roger Bart.
I don't know.
It had nothing to do with the vocal. It was the combination. It was so off time. I don't think it was in the right key. I was listening on a plane, just straight up laughing to myself like a maniac. And then I finally got off airplane mode, sent it to him, and I think that one took the cake.
And he doubled down. I even listened again. I'm like, what if yes, okay, got a little off time. I could fix that.
I'm like, no, that's not the only problem. Yeah. There's way too many. It's the worst thing I've ever heard.
One day we'll figure out how to use that.
God, such a great song.
Great song, great movie. That was my go-to, like homesick from school, Hercules.
Yeah.
What part of like creating music actually fulfills you the most? Is it originals? Is it doing these mashups? Is it doing single remixes?
That's a good question. I think the act of creation is fulfilling. And the funny thing is, like, it doesn't necessarily mean getting released, but literally creating it. So for me, a lot of times that's like, maybe we're in a session, like a writing session, and it's like, oh, wow, that hook we wrote is so good. Or this drop idea is so good. Or like when you finally finish a Big Booty mix and it's like, damn, that was a lot of work, but it's crispy, it's clean, everyone's going to love this. Just the act of creating. So all of those things bring different energy.
all of it together. And then I think the shows are kind of the representation of all the if you come to a show, it's kind of, you'll hear the originals, you'll hear highlights from Big Booty mixes, you'll hear new surprises with our, with saxophone, or we have drummers at the Big Booty Land shows. So the shows, I think, especially like when we did our the last tour we did, the Planet Two Friends tour, where that just felt very fulfilling of like, we're putting on a 90-minute show. This is our best representation of us in 90 minutes, and hopefully you're going to have some fun.
Yeah.
And those are very fulfilling.
Do you feel underrated today?
That's a funny question, because we've always seen like growth in these like little victories is how we call them. It's like, it's not an overnight thing. You're like grinding for years, and it's like you look over your shoulder. I'm like, oh, 2 years ago, like we were there and now we're here. That's amazing. So as you get more and more acclaim, I think the idea of underrated kind of goes away. It's more, I think you'll get like more haters as, more visibility, but you got to be thankful for people caring. Calling yourself underrated feels weird, so I won't say that, but I will say there's a lot of cool stuff coming always. Like we're always grinding, and there's a lot in the pipeline.
Do you guys wish you got more like visual recognition? Like you can walk into a grocery store and people know who you are. Like, do you experience that often?
It happens. I wouldn't say every day, but it's definitely more likely when we are in a context where it's like music adjacent.
But to answer your question, I don't think so. I don't think you would.
I don't think we're
like if you
wishing.
get the, if people are still buying tickets, like, do you really want them to be stopping you? I don't know.
You guys got it pretty nice. You can sell out the Forum, but then you can just go walk around and nobody bothers you.
I think that's like the DJ thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's not too many DJs that are like, I mean, there's obviously a couple, but that are like every single person on the street would recognize. If Drake walks around, Taylor Swift walks around, it's like a joke. Like, obviously they can't go anywhere.
This guy just compared himself to Drake and
No, no, actually, I contrasted myself with them. It's like we have it easy. Like, we can do stuff and whatever. Obviously, they're bigger anyway, but like, you can just kind of.
I do remember.
your life.
I have such a clear memory because I know I was visiting you at Stanford. So that we were still in college. Must have been 2014 or 15, and it was the first time anyone like said, "Are you Eli from Two Friends?" And I was going to a movie. I was in like sweatpants and flip flops, and like the idea that someone would. It was like, whoa, like what is going on? Like you are. Why do you know me? And I was like freaked out by it. So now I don't wear sandals and flip flops as much. I still wear them a lot.
He still wears them in his studio every day. You guys got a treat with this outfit today.
Oh, thank you so much for blessing us.
Yeah, great.
That really does mean a lot. By the way, all of Two Friends, their music is waiting for you on Amazon Music. We're going to put a link below. What are you thinking?
When it comes to the Big Booty mixes, do you guys make money on the actual mix, or can you not because it's not your music?
Yeah. There are platforms that are starting to figure out how to, basically legitimize DJ mixes. But to your point, no. And it's really just a fan recognition thing where like, oh, I love this. I'm going to go see them in concert. Or, oh, I love this. I'm going to stream their original music. So it's still worth it for us, but no. If you ask me in 5 years, I absolutely think it will be a thing where DJ mixes will be, first of all, a little more celebrated from the artists that the music is being used from, because I think it's, in the end, it's helpful for everybody. It's pushing everyone's agenda.
You're promoting 50 different artists in 1 hour.
Exactly. So it's just complicated legally, but we're working on it. Other people are working on it. So 5 years, ask me again. I think it'll be different.
Okay.
Right, set a reminder.
I will.
Can somebody do that now?
January
Siri?
23rd or whatever.
January 23rd, what's the year?
2025.
2029.
Oh, 2020. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk then. We'll talk before.
We'll talk before.
Obviously. By the way, you guys can see them at the Win. Very exciting.
Oh yeah, we're
Beach
there
Club,
a bunch.
Excess.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
all the good spots. But yeah, we're gonna be all over.
The Great Escape.
Great
Great
Escape. We
Escape.
just did that. So like, we're probably not doing a bus situation this year, but we're trying to do these big special shows. We have the Big Booty Land LA Forum show, obviously. We announced this Great Escape, a couple shows. One's at Red Rocks, and two of them are actually in Boston.
Sick.
And those are also just kind of like, just gonna go big, gonna do some fun stuff.
Brand new show, kind of like those marquee big ones that you work towards and make it cool.
Got some festivals in the summer. It's gonna be a fun year.
Yeah,
Got some very fun
and a lot of
things
music. A lot of music. Music comes first.
Yeah, so are we going to release another album?
So we've basically been in this like singles game, and a lot of DJs fall into it. I think the goal is an album at some point, but we have a lot of music in the pipeline. It's like how we package it, we still need to figure out, and we definitely think we have like a lot of the best music we've ever made. We're working on it, and we're constantly working on it, but we should have music in the next month, and then consistently throughout 2024.
The record with Bebe is really good.
Thank
Hell
you.
yeah.
That was a really fun and cool one for
Yeah,
us.
If Only that came out mid that last tour we were talking about, and it's funny because we premiered at Coachella 2 months before, but the song didn't come out, so like people like heard it, and eventually our Coachella set was uploaded, so like people like kind of was familiar a little bit, and then it came out mid tour, started playing it. Then we actually probably played it at the tour before it was out, but people like learned the words like 2 days later. It was amazing, and it's been a highlight of the sets.
Who are you writing that with, Bebe? Is she coming to you with lyrics? How does that work?
Every original song is like, it's funny. There is no formula to like how these things get done. That song was, Bebe was not attached to it before. We were working on it with Loud Luxury, a bunch of super talented writers.
They're great.
Yeah, they're good dudes. And then basically there was the writer, one of the writers was the demo singer, and got pitched to Bebe, and she was into it, so it kind of like made it happen. She came in, we rewrote a couple parts here and there, but she definitely took it to the next level.
Do you need a superstar vocalist to make a song a hit?
You know, I think that's a good question. The answer is no, but does it help, you know, jumpstart the song? Absolutely. You know, it's always nice to be striving to work with, like, you know, big people, but at the same time, there's so many talented people that are emerging and bubbling, and we try to do a mix of the two. You know, like we're obviously striving to work with these huge names, but at the same time, like there's so many songs we like write with someone and we're like, you sound so good on this, like we cannot change a thing.
Like you can make the case that some of the biggest EDM records of all time are vocalists that were unknown previous.
100%.
I didn't know Foxes before that Zed song. I mean,
100%.
And I think also, you know, the flip side also, sometimes you'll see a collab where you can kind of just tell it was either the label manufactured it or, you know, it was a money grab thing.
Sounds forced.
It sounds a little forced, and the featured artist kind of acts like the song doesn't exist, and you know their name is on it.
that's the worst
But
thing, dude.
they never like post about it. They don't perform it at their own. So that was great about Bebe, was she was down to come out at Coachella and sing it. She does it at her own show. She has like a live version she's been singing. You know,
in the most ideal scenario, you want the person you're working with to be passionate about the music as well.
that it's like you didn't just do us a favor and lent your voice, but this is like, hey, this is our
Collaboration.
song. Yeah.
The world doesn't work that way anymore, right? Like you can't just be like, oh yeah, I'll give you my voice for this, and then like go and do your own thing and see where it goes. No, like every song comes with a little bit of work.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And we'll see what happens with like AI voices. That'll be the whole game changer. People are already playing with it. But I mean, in general, you know, you want people to be passionate about what you're working on. You don't want them to just be doing it for, you know, for like streams or money or some combo.
And a really good song is a really good song, and somebody who can bring to life the lyrics emotionally 100%. And embody.
I mean,
that
especially in the age of like TikTok, it's like people don't care who's singing it. If it like connects with you, it goes viral.
It's
you know
weird.
what I
Like
mean?
you can make the case that like a superstar vocalist does help, but you can also make the case that it actually hurts, and it actually distracts from the quality of a record, right? Like, because the focus is that artist and not the song.
I mean, that's definitely a good point.
Like, look, I can make also Maren Morris. Like Maren Morris, like when, by the way, they fucking try 13 people on the middle.
Yeah.
And at the moment where Maren takes it on, she is the least mainstream pop out of all of them.
Yep.
And ends up doing a lot for her life.
I mean, it's just such a good song that it's like
doesn't matter.
Anyone who sounds great on it, that song's gonna pop.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Why did you guys need to work with another DJ duo? And what's that like? Because like you already have 2 brains. Why do you need 4?
It's true. I mean, we don't do a ton of DJ collaborations, but it wasn't that we needed to. It was that we wanted to. I think we were all excited about it. It kind of just got. I mean, we've known them for a while, but it kind of started the conversation of what if we do the song together. They're in LA. We went over to their place a few times, and it was just a fun thing to do. It. You know, it is funny because there's 4 DJs.
4 producers.
So like we did it for New Year's Eve. We did a version of it, and like we had to figure out what our 4 DJs
so like I did
do
guitar, he did drum pad, Joe did bass, and Andrew did keyboard. So it's like, you know, you can get creative and figure out.
A little band.
Yeah, we had a band, and Davey was our lead singer. No, it is interesting, and when you have a lot of, you know, people in the kitchen, sometimes it can get overcomplicated. But that one was. You know, we were super happy where it ended up. But, you know, we haven't done that many collabs for that reason, because there's already 2 of us, and definitely too many cooks in the kitchen can, make you fall out of love with a song.
Totally.
You know, I mean, it's in anything creative. It's like if you're just constantly getting nixed like what you like, it's like, oh, well, like, why can't I just do this myself or whatever it is? But at the same time, by bringing in cool new ideas, like you put in a spice in your mix that you wouldn't have
Can you
otherwise.
show us the spice in the mix again, please. Thank you.
But those are also people you want to feel safe to be vulnerable around and
100%.
like pitch shit that could be shit to. Like it's a whole thing.
I mean, that's like writing sessions, like 100%. A lot of times you don't know the person and you're like saying this like heartfelt lyric and you could get clowned easily.
Yeah, that's the worst.
This happens. I feel like I do this more than you. I'm too scared to say something. I'll text Matt a lyric and be like, should I say this out loud?
I'm like, bruh.
He's like, just do it.
I'm just do it. He's like scared to sing. I'm just like, just say it in poetry form. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
but having to go through that process to create, that's like laborious and actually
Yep. Yeah.
distracting. And imagine if you got rid of that, like that little
Yeah.
freaking middleman.
It's true.
And just-
That's why writing with the same people a lot, it is good if you're comfortable. Like, I mean,
Totally.
I can say any idea to him and he can say any idea to me. It's
And you're
great.
safe.
Right.
It's
Well,
great.
we're also we're in our studio. There's no like deadline of okay, this writing session. Everyone agreed that we're going from 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. So it's like then it's a little more relaxed. We'll pick this up tomorrow. Sometimes sessions are like, all right, you got to show what you're made of.
Yeah,
like
but that's
real quick.
See, like I can also make the case that like the great, like yes, people who force a song out of every session. You tell
You get
me
a lot
what
of
great.
a lot of bad songs.
Yeah, you
for
tell
sure.
me what greatness was built out of that.
Yeah.
Like one of the most common threads out of every musician we've talked to, and we've talked to how many?
Too many.
Yeah. Dude, a lot of people believe that the greatest songs were just bestowed upon them. And it takes like a lot of gap time between that moment and after that moment for you to take something in and register it and apply it. And
Yeah.
dude, like, and it's more than just Chris Martin. Like you can make the case that Chris Martin is like, you know, connected to the universe and a hippie, whatever the fuck. But like way more. Like people a lot of times can't even justify hit songs because they feel like it just is like it comes to them. Like how do you allow anything to come to you if you're going to operate under tight time constraints and
It's hard.
in a judgmental zone?
That's why I think more recently it's rare that we will finish the song on day one. I think what's nice about the sessions though is that it does give you like a very clear, all right, you are gonna write a song, and like you know what usually happens is a day later when we have fresh ears or whatever, we'll be like, okay, that hook actually there's something there, let's get on our text thread and see if people are down to come back next week.
Yeah, rewrite the verse, or okay, let me sing something in the mic and send it over. Okay, that's cool. Let's, it's kind of like this back and forth thing. Everyone does it differently though. Like some people just like are doing, I'm not exaggerating, 10 plus sessions a week. They're doing 2 a days. And
That's crazy.
I mean, they got that muscle where they're just like chucking out ideas. Some of them are okay and some are great. So it works for some people for sure.
I was
But-
going to use the word muscle too, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I like that muscle because sometimes we might go longer between when we're doing these organized sessions. And so it is nice to have someone that's just like they're can just,
Chuck out ideas.
Chuck out ideas
And we
and
can
then-
chuck out ideas too and then help shape it a little.
And by the way, like that seems to be the two schools of thought, right? One is that the universe bestowed this upon me, and then other is like write 100 fucking songs and like work this muscle until you have something strong. And I do think that there's a moment where the two kind of overlap, right? Where like
100%.
totally.
like again, there's that the whole like saying about
Yeah.
like greatness and like luck and opportunity, whatever the fuck,
Yeah.
and preparation, all that shit. There is something where they do cross over, and you have the ability to take whatever was
Yeah.
given to you and make it work because you know what to do with that information.
I mean, the most extreme example, like, Mark works at a construction company, never wrote a song in his life. He's not going to get bestowed this hit song. You know what I
No.
mean? You got to be working at it.
Cheap shot. Shots fired.
What are you saying? Mark can't be a singer?
Poor Mark.
I was going to say too, though, it's like, it's really fun also that there's not one path that always works. Every song was like a different route. Some of it starts because Matt's just messing around on a guitar and we get a cool guitar lick and we build off that. Other times it's a title of a song. This is a sticky title and tagline and you're going to build something around it. Other times it's, it's just the two of us. There's someone else in the room. So I think but over the years, we've kind of learned like, just go with it.
How much of your session incorporates live instruments, or is it mostly?
Depends. Sometimes you'll have producers in the session. Sometimes we'll record stuff before people get there so we can just like hit lyrics, melodies, rhythm right away. It depends. Like
Matt plays guitar on, I'd
lot
say
of
the
songs.
definitely the majority of our songs.
But a lot of times, like, it depends what people want to do. Like, if you only have these many hours, sometimes it takes a long time to, set up a great chain to record this guitar exactly how you want, then go edit it pristinely. So, like, sometimes it's better to just, like, have something very simple and just start writing because, people are busy. They're driving LA, take you forever to get across. Like, they have to leave at 6 p.m. So you just got to, like, start and see where it goes. Some people like messing around a lot, and that's good if you're like with someone for a week, I think.
Do either of you sing?
I'll sing
Definitely not me.
demos. I haven't released a song, and like I don't have a great voice, but enough to get like
But now
ideas across.
Matt mentioned AI. There's fun
Oh,
tools
yeah.
where like he can sing. You just click a button, and now he is Ed Sheeran.
Yeah,
and it sounds
even more crazy. It'll be like, I will be a female famous singer, and it sounds like 95%.
And it's
like
not.
them.
We would never release that, but
Yeah.
it actually is helpful.
Have you used it?
Yeah, all the time.
Not in release
Not
songs.
for
No, but like in the studio, in the session.
Yes,
100%.
it's actually in like a good use is like as a demo is like if we write something ourselves and we're gonna pitch it, we think this girl is gonna sound amazing on it, but she doesn't want to hear Matt's voice. You know, but we can kind of prove like, hey, Ariana Grande on this song, doesn't it sound like a hit? Don't you want
Yeah.
Here's proof of concept. So there's some cool.
We're definitely
cool
starting
tools.
it. People are. I mean, one of my producer writer friends started doing that. He's like, yeah, he writes a lot for K-pop, and he's like, yep, I'm just singing these things, putting a K-pop voice over. They are eating it up. They're like taking it every song. So it's just like this, like, creative tool to be like, it solved a problem. Like they don't want to hear this indie rock voice for a K-pop song. They want to hear what it'll sound like when one of their K-pop groups sings it.
And dude, it's like, it's crazy. It's like the same pillars of business apply to many, many things. And like just showing executives or letting executives hear a finished product is the best way to make a sale.
Yep.
Yeah. No,
like-
there's a lot of people.
It's crazy.
I mean, in the label game, like people aren't trying to like develop artists. You
No.
know, they want to hit the ground running.
And develop artists? Hasn't been a thought since, I don't even think it was a thought in the middle of the pandemic because they were just taking people with fucking single success from TikTok,
Yeah.
giving them shit deals and letting them release a single, and then you don't hear from
Yeah.
half of them.
You never hear him again.
Dude, I think we've in the last few years had more one-hit wonders than we've seen in many, many moons.
100%. It's like one out of X amount of those, has another song that pops and good for them. But it's like such a hard thing to have.
Minuscule.
Like have like one of your first songs ever before you've really developed as an artist, just like go huge. It's like, I don't know what I'm doing.
But that's the luck of the algorithm and the internet.
I was
Yep.
looking up someone this morning. We interviewed him a couple years ago. He had one big song, and I've never heard of him since.
It's crazy.
And I looked him up today,
Crazy.
and he hasn't done anything.
I mean, I can name like 4 of those people off the top of my head.
Name them. No, don't. No.
Mark
No.
from construction.
Yeah, Mark from construction never made it.
Mark from Construction, his friend Ted. But by the way, see these guys and listen to Two Friends Music. We're going to put a link in the description below to see them on tour, see them in excess, and then also grab all their music. What are you thinking?
Well, when you do like 200 shows a year, like what makes a bad show? Or have you figured out the formula you don't have bad shows anymore?
Well,
That's a question. There's a couple that become inside jokes. It's
Because
usually
they were a
like
bad
one
show.
every year.
there's like one or two a year that were like, that just is not the vibe. And I won't say it's not our fault, but I don't think it's our fault in those scenarios. We give 100% effort. We're still smiling. We're still bringing in the moments. We're playing. We're doing as good as we can. But, maybe it's just like a weird venue.
Oh, it's the crowd's fault.
Or a weird crowd. I won't blame the crowd, but sometimes it's the crowd. And I think it's not even their fault. It's just wasn't the right show.
There's like, sometimes we'll do like a private event and it'll be 11 people scattered across a, whatever.
Living room.
A house,
A
a
VFW
backyard of a house.
Now, with that said,
And
they had the time of their
Right.
life.
So for us, we're like, this is a little awkward. It's hard to, we don't want to come out of the gates like, y'all ready to get fucked up? Like, we're not going to.
That's what he says on the mic.
No. But exactly. Like, for them, that was the best party ever.
But, for us, like, it's like once you see someone having fun, like, it's hard not to have fun with them. So it's like, oh, that 11-person living room party, was like, that was actually unique and fun, and I had a good time.
And there's also sometimes a bad show will have absolutely nothing to do with the actual show portion, more about the travel or the extracurricular. Like, for example,
Extracurricular.
That's good.
What does that mean?
That's
Eli?
not meant to be anything evil.
Okay.
So we had a show in, we were going from Chicago to Boston, and I had I don't know what happened, but I really messed up my back the night before. And so
Some fan tried to pick him up or something.
that's actually what, yeah. And
we took a picture. And
we took a picture, and this guy just like lifted me awkwardly, and it really like threw out my back. And so we're at the airport. We had a show that night in Boston, and I called my dad, and I was like, he's a doctor. I'm like, my back is killing me. What do you think I should do? He's like, oh, sometimes the airport will have a little urgent care clinic. Ask for a steroid shot. That'll just get you through the weekend, and hopefully, you'll be fine. So I go to this airport clinic. Matt's just at the gate.
I'm at the gate, like, knowing that, we got 20 minutes before boarding. Like, I'm not sure what's happening here.
And so I tell the guy, like, hey, my back, is it possible to get a steroid shot? He's like, yep, easy. And I don't do great with needles.
He's
And
not
so
exaggerating.
I do very badly with needles. And I completed what we now call the triple threat or trifecta, where I got the shot, I passed out, I pissed my pants, and I vomited.
What?
All in one. All in the span of about 45 seconds.
What?
Whoa.
And you're about to get on an airplane.
And about to get, the order was pass out first, then wake up very sweaty and notice especially wet in my pants area. Ask the doctor.
Before you even give the punchline of like what you end up coming back, let me give my thing. I'm at the gate. I'm like, okay, we missed the first flight. I'm like calling our team, calling our agent. I'm like, there's another flight in like 2 hours. Like maybe we can get that. Maybe there's a flight in 3 hours. So if we miss the 2 hour one, I'm like, okay, don't cancel the show yet. It's just like sold out show in Boston. We're like very excited for it, but I hadn't heard a word from him. Called his dad, like all these things. Eventually, I'm just like talking to the gate. I'm like, okay, can we be on this next flight? And this guy just waddles over in scrubs. Like he's just in doctor scrubs. I'm like, what the heck?
What airport are you at?
Chicago O'Hare.
I had checked my bag, I guess, so I didn't have my suitcase. But I pissed myself.
Just has nothing.
So
He's just in
the guy,
scrubs.
I remember it was such a humiliating question, but I was like lying in this whatever doctor's bed thing, and like kind of coming to after I just passed out for 2 minutes, and I'm so like clammy and sweaty. But I could tell, like, I'm like, and I've passed out before. I've never pissed my pants. And so I'm just like, I had to humble myself and ask the doctor. I'm like, question for you, like, did I piss myself? And he goes, yep, you did. And he was very nice. He had some leftover or what, an extra pair of scrubs, and he sent me on my way. And then the third.
Did you get your shot though?
I got my shot, and
We did the show.
Didn't feel great, but
This is him DJing that night. He just like did not move once. Just his
yeah, it was
back.
very stiff.
I had to
and
carry the show on that one.
You
But
did a good job.
hey, he got through it.
And then I remember also, like, we called our agent and we're like, hey, like, I think I'll be okay, but just giving you the heads up, like, there's a chance I'm not feeling great later. And he's like, no, don't even worry. Like, if you can't do it, Matt'll do the show. And we're like,
I don't think it works.
I don't
with
think two friends is, yeah, I don't think people would be very stoked if it's a 2-friend show with
and
just
one friend.
with just one friend.
Some DJ duos or trios especially can pull that off. I just don't think it works with
There's
two friends.
there's been one time each in our 13-year history where we've done a solo show.
It
But
was
it
in
was
college.
back in college.
I don't think that we could pull it off anymore.
Yeah. It was not. It was very lonesome.
Well, that's
and
like a beautiful
sad.
thing to accept and understand.
Yeah. It's like
It was
I
one of
need
the
you,
saddest.
you need me.
It was actually one of the saddest weekends of my life.
Where is it? Penn State?
It was Penn State. They booked me. It was a Saturday night college party, but they bought flights for me Friday morning to Sunday night, and I went alone, and I didn't know anyone there. So I was in a hotel room
Dead
all
of
of
winter.
Friday, all of Saturday, have like the 1 hour window where I go do the show, and then all of Sunday just alone. I was actually like,
Terrible.
it really made me appreciate you.
Thanks, Levi.
All alone in Happy Valley.
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. This is
Yeah.
special.
We got something.
It's really
Good guy.
nice.
Good guy.
Well, Two Friends' music is waiting for you. Listen to it all on Amazon Music. Final thoughts?
And we covered a lot here.
Yeah, we did. Thanks for coming in.
Thank
and
you guys for
hanging
having
out.
us. This was fun.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for having us.
I do want to go to Big Booty Land,
So do I.
Come through February 10th.
and I
You'll
do.
get your picture with Thickums McGillicuddy.
That's really what I want, to be honest.
Guaranteed.
I really do want to see you guys in Vegas.
Come through.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring my mom.
Please do.
Please.
That is a great joy for us when people bring their parents and we get to show them the Vegas Two Friends
it's fun.
experience.
We'll take a shot with them.
Oh, sick.
We've had music friends literally not coming last week, not coming to the show, but they're like, hey, my parents are in Vegas. They really wanted to come. I'm like, yeah, what's their names?
do it.
Let's add them. So we meet them. You know, we're big hits with the moms and dads.
Well, I'll be there with my mom. Don't worry.
Perfect.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Oh, I'm excited.
Let's roll.
Yeah, fucking A. I really want to, like, I've never seen somebody bring live instruments into a Vegas club before. So that's what I'm really
Well,
excited
Casey,
for.
our
I have a
saxophonist.
feeling Casey's our saxophonist. So he'll pop up for little spurts,
Love it.
every now and then. But most of the show he's just hanging. So I have a feeling if you were there,
Oh, we're going to be friends.
Oh,
if you're
best
there,
friends.
you and Casey will be absolute best friends.
He's
by the
best
end of
friends
the
with everyone backstage.
show. His ratio of friends made per show is astronomical.
Scary.
5 or 6 new lifelong friends every show.
I have deep respect and appreciation for trumpets and saxophones and anything brass, dude.
Yep.
Fuck, man, the
Yep.
horns.
And his secret skill, he also works at an instrument repair shop.
Whoa.
So if you have some old trumpets laying around,
He can do
bring
it
them to
for you.
Vegas. Get the 2-for-1 special.
Get it tuned up.
Bring your mom, the 3-for-1 special.
Yeah.
There we go.
That sounds like a really good deal. Listen to Two Friends music though, please, please, please. And I really appreciate you guys. Yeah, thanks.
Thanks so much for
Thank
having
you,
us,
guys.
guys.
This
That
was
was great.
You guys are special as fuck. So thanks for sharing your energy and your stories. Appreciate
love.
you. Two Friends, everybody.
Woo! Woo!